Who knows? With Kayla.
Hey,
Hey, girl.
hey everyone. Hey Ind, how are
Hi,
you?
everyone.
Hey Oprah, hey John. Hey H. Cuban.
Hello, people. Happy Monday.
I'm just deciding what light for.
I know. I'm just like looking. I'm looking
Right.
I'm looking a bit
Yeah, I just
oily.
don't know.
I'm always looking oily. If
Yeah,
I don't
same.
like not look young forever, I'm suing someone.
This is it. This is the fantasy they tell us.
I know.
Like
I don't have oily skin like this just to look old.
have it, you know. Do you know what I mean? I think yeah, oily skin's a bit of a tricky one because like obviously while you have it, you're just like, oh, why do I have this? This is so annoying. I keep on having to use my Laura Mercier powder to fucking pat myself down.
Don't say brand names. We're not getting paid for that.
Do you know? Oh yeah, shit. I'm joking. But oh my god, Oprah, the Urban Decay spray. You've been telling me to get it for ages, and I heard such good things about it. So I think we should invest in India.
Okay.
I think that will change our life.
Okay, change my life, girl. How are you this week? Well, it's the beginning of the week, but
yeah, true. But like the actual week that went by,
yeah, how was your last week, I should say?
it was alright. Nothing special.
Lockdown.
I've just been reading some books and watching TV shows. Playing tennis. Been playing tennis.
Nice.
And I started my yoga today, so I'm excited. Yeah, to have that continue and hopefully be a part of my routine. How about your week?
Yeah, I had actually such a nice weekend because the weather was nice.
Yeah, you went to Hastings, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
No, it was nice. I saw a seal.
Yeah, you were saying.
On
Oh
the
my
beach.
god. Oh my gosh,
Seal.
that's so cute.
And I think it was actually a black seal, which is apparently a very oh, hi, Jerry.
Hi. Hi, Mum.
Hello, Kayla's mum. I saw a black seal, which I think is like I think it was a black seal. It's a very, very rare type of seal, at least in the UK.
Interesting.
Crazy.
Literally, you take a picture?
Oh, I'll send you a video.
Oh, wicked. What was it doing? Sealing about?
Oh my god! In the background. I'll show you.
I sometimes feel like staffies, the dogs, look like seals. Like if you look at their face, they look really similar to seals. Google it when you're finished with the slide, but you'll see exactly what I mean. I promise you.
Who looks like
So Staffy, like Staffordshire Bull Terriers.
Okay.
Hi, Caitlin, India, looking like schoolgirls. Yeah, Mum, that's
this is my
look. Yeah.
Wait, on three, let's both do our pose for a school photo. Okay, ready?
All right.
1, 2, 3.
You know that hard smile?
That one where your mum's like, don't F it up because I'm going to buy this one.
School pictures. Do you still have all of yours?
I think I have most of mine.
Yeah, same. And like some of them I look at and I'm like, ooh.
Let me tell you. I'm just gonna dob you right in it right now. There's a school photo of Kayla, half up, half down hair.
Oh,
okay?
God. I basically look
Flicks down
like
fringe.
I look like
Flicks
a rude
down
girl.
baby hairs. Wait for it. Blue shoelace because we had a blue school uniform.
Oh, God.
Blue shoelace in the hair. Oh.
Look, I can't take back the styles that were going on back in those days and those ages, and in the bloody area that we grew up in. You know, we were influenced by the ghetto.
Yeah, but that's slick fringe. Hey,
yeah,
I might rock that now. You know,
why not? I mean, I don't want to get more spots on my forehead, but my mum said I used to hate that look. Thanks, Mum. Yeah, she actually did.
I had one just as bad. I had side pony, big puff, side fringe, baby hairs, and then I too also had The shoelace.
A little bit of shoelace in there.
Colour coordinating that school
JD
uniform and
hooked
that.
us up. There we go. Yeah, no, those were different days, and you know, we may do a remake picture of it.
Oh.
If you're lucky.
So it's 5 past. Shall we get stuck in?
Yeah, let's get stuck in.
Okay. The latecomers, sorry, can join us in a bit. So welcome everyone to episode 4 of Heart to Heart. All right, speaking.
Sorry. Oh wait, let me do Afrikaans.
Okay,
1, 2, 3, 4. So 4.
Welcome to episode
4,
everyone. This week our topic is womanhood and sisterhood. So last week we kind of touched on identity, and that kind of got us both thinking about, obviously being a woman is a huge part of both of our identities. So we thought that we would talk about womanhood, but also sisterhood, and kind of our experiences of them, what it means to us, and yeah, just talk the shit, you know?
Yeah, talk the shit.
Let's start off with very basic. Kayla, what does womanhood, or what does being a woman mean to you?
So I think womanhood is like, it's very, very, very hard to pin down, and like I was having trouble with like coming up with what it means to me, and I think I came up with womanhood is variations of states of femininity for me. So when I talk in the conversation and in general about this, I'm not talking about female and male, I'm talking about feminine and masculine. So womanhood represents feminine energy. It represents magic, it represents endurance, it represents being the portal to life, it represents having like
that.
A portal to life. It represents, you know, like a large emotional capacity and range. It encompasses all of those things for me, probably even out some as well. But what about you, girl?
I think for me, being a woman, or like womanhood, sorry, is, I think about strength. Some comments just said, I didn't realize how hard this question was until now. And I think that's true. It's like, I think actually it kind of is a difficult question to kind of boil down the essence of like what being a woman is, or what womanhood is to you. And obviously, like we said, with the caveat to us, because
we're Western women.
Yeah, exactly. We're cisgendered women, we're Western women, and like what womanhood is going to mean different things to different people. But I think to me, I think it means strength, because I think pretty much every woman I know has some kind of strength that I admire.
Absolutely.
And like, yeah, just strength in so many different capacities. And I think that is something that like really I am proud of, to be a woman. I think that like women endure a lot. They have always endured a lot. And someone said strength. I agree. We go through a lot and still rise. Exactly.
Literally, we're so resilient.
We're so resilient. And I think like that for me is like one of the things that I think womanhood signals for me.
Yeah, strength, endurance.
Yeah.
Passion,
I mean, hopefully we wouldn't have to endure so much shit, but
but you know, it seems like we were bloody built for it with fucking childbirth.
I know. But okay, so let me ask you another quick question. What is one of the best things for you about being a woman?
Well, I just want to say that like I would never trade in being a woman for anything else. Like I know that men you know, are seen as a superior gender, and we live in a man's world, and everything's so paternalistic, and it's, you know, all this men stuff. But I want to say that I love being a woman. There's so much beauty in being a woman. And one of my favorite things, one, we live longer, 6 to 7 years longer. Sorry, 6 to 8 years longer than men typically. And also, I think it's like, for example, what we have. So like the hearts to hearts we have, the girl talks that we have, like our importance and how much importance we place on building like relationships and friendships, like building fulfilling, like emotionally fulfilling friendships and relationships. Like if I went through life and I didn't have a boyfriend or a husband, like my friends and my friendships would fulfill me enough emotionally. And I think women like have a real like talent of fostering and valuing and building relationships with people. How about you?
I think women have, do you know what? I think because women have such a capacity for empathy.
Yeah.
And I think we're like, women
makes us good listeners.
Yeah, they have such good capacity for, like, I think they have such huge emotional intelligence.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of time in like days gone by, I think people, particularly men, have seen that as being a weakness, but actually I think that is probably one of our biggest strengths, that we can, and also our communication skills, the ability to excuse me, not only empathize but also communicate. And I think I'd 100% would not trade. If I could be a man, somebody was like, tomorrow you can be a man, I'd be like,
you can have a Willy.
Thanks. I'm okay.
I'm good. Someone close to me said that basically studies have like found that, as like a general statement, women like are interested in people and feelings, and you know, building communities, whereas men are more, I don't want to make this about men, but that's what women are about.
So interesting that you say like that, like women are this and men are that, because I think something like women are particularly fall victim to, I think it's about kind of
sorry,
like,
I meant feminine, not I shouldn't, that's what I was going to say, I shouldn't use men and female, it's masculine and feminine, because some females
like one thing that I think that women have kind of been the victim of is like being pigeonholed and kind of like, I don't know, limited, or our expectation of us has been limited of like what people think that women are good at or bad at. What would you say is one thing that like society says that as a woman you're maybe not strong at, or something that you can't do that you're just like,
I think leadership is one of them. Society often thinks that women are too emotional and can't come from a rational point perspective, and because of that we may not, according to society, we may not be the best leaders. That really pisses me off. And also it's like, I was reading a study, and basically what women actually bring to the table in that regard is like we have better persuasive and negotiation skills because we're able to be empathetic and listen. So like that's a leadership quality. Team building, we bring teams together, and that's like a leadership quality. You know, a study also said like we're more risk averse, and in some respects that's good, in some respects are bad. But like if we were like running like the finances, when the financial crash in 2008 wouldn't have happened, because we're like risk averse, and that was like proven with the like finance portfolio. But on top of that, not just like from that point of view, society also like just likes to place importance and basically make us if women are vessels just for like giving life and producing life and being,
well, I think like obviously because for so long women's place has been seen in the home and being seen as like quite strictly to be a caregiver, to be a child bearer, and to
homemaker.
Homemaker, and that was like women's domain was to be in the home overwhelmingly. And obviously in more recent history, obviously women have done other things in the past, but I mean for women generally, at large, they have kind of fought their way out of the home, out of the kitchen, and have been trying to make their mark in other industries and other places and things around the world. And I kind of like, I feel like in the same kind of like our conversation that we were having last week about you know, like racism and the Black Lives Matter movement, I feel like the kind of intersectionality of being Black or a person of color and being a woman, like, is also something that's important to consider, because if you are those things, if those two things like intersect in your identity, I think that that can make life quite difficult, because you're not only trying to like break down racism, but you're also trying to dismantle sexism and the patriarchal society. And boy, are there a lot of barriers there.
Absolutely. And on that point, and on like the intersectionality of like being Black and being a woman, like studies for focusing on imposter syndrome is like really is overrepresented in ethnic groups that are female, and that's like something, you know, that a lot of women but especially BAME women like go through and suffer with.
Would you say that you suffer? Because I know a lot of women who suffer from imposter syndrome. Would you say that you do, or have?
Yeah, I think to a degree I do, because, well, one way I know that I do is that like I can't, like, when I do something well and someone like congratulates me or like praises me on it, like I can't accept that, and like I feel like I'm not deserving of that praise, because I know that maybe it didn't go the way I want it to in my head, and then I feel like people are gonna like all the good work that I've done and all like the like praise that I get on like this reflective app that we use at work. Like I feel like people are just gonna like realize that maybe I'm not worth the money that they pay, and like maybe like their compliments are like only for that specific thing, and I know other things that I fucked up on, and it's just a vicious cycle.
I think imposter syndrome is such a huge, I wish I had known about it. Like, I wish that like voice in my head that I now know is imposter syndrome, I wish that I knew what it was called, like as a young woman, because I feel like it can really damage your confidence, because you kind of second guess yourself when, like you said, like you've done a good job, somebody has actively praised you, and yet you're in your head, you're still questioning whether or not like you've done a good job. And I feel like also somebody in the comments, or two people in the comments, Claire said, my mum always said twice as hard being Black and a woman. And then somebody else said, being a Black woman is like being double Black. But then they said, love it.
Love it too.
But it's true, yeah. And I think like imposter syndrome is like, the reason I wish I knew what it was and what its name was and everything like that is because so many women suffer from it, and in particular so many successful women suffer from it, which is like, not I want people to deal with it as well, but it's kind of like reassuring that it isn't just like, it is actually quite something that's quite common, and that even people who are successful still suffer from it. So it's not something that like you're just weak, or you know, you haven't got what it takes. It's something that can afflict anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
But what can you do? What do you think that you can do to like
I think like a good way of like kind of resetting your mind when you have those thoughts are like taking pleasure and like acknowledging your victories, like, and I think so like acknowledging your small victories and your big victories, and just asking yourself, would you say that to your friend, or would you say that to someone that you care about, or like just treating yourself how you would treat your friend, or how I treat you
with kindness.
With kindness, exactly. Like it's so like easy to be hard on yourself, so for sure, just
Yeah.
trying to be kind to yourself.
So, okay, so that's one thing that's really, I personally would say is like quite difficult being a woman. What is like, what would you say for you is like the most difficult part or like the hardest part about being a woman? Or like maybe something you change about being a woman, like what would it be? Something like that.
Yeah, so I actually have this. So I would say, like another hard thing about being a woman, or like something that I would change, is like society's expectation from you, like the constant judgment and monitoring of everything about you, your weight, what you wear, how you talk, your modesty, your conservatism, your just everything. Like it's a constant like eye on you. Yeah, literally constantly being policed and constantly being judged and corrected, and you just can't be like, I'm all for live and let live, and if you're not hurting anyone, or if you're, you know, living your truth, then who am I to say anything to you? And I feel like society, like not just someone, actual society puts so much pressure on women, and it's really like impossible pressures really, and it causes anxiety, it causes depression. Like there's so many different studies and so many cases where society, and depending on which society you live in, it's different, because we're actually fortunate, you know, to be growing up in a Western society where there's a less, where we have more rights, because there's a lot of countries that you don't have the same rights. For example, I think India, you don't have like the same rights as like as we would. And like a manifestation of that is like the acid attacks in India, like on women. You know, women are like literally being scarred because of like, because they're a woman, and because of like the hypersexuality of being a woman in those countries.
Sure.
But yeah,
I think that's something that really bothers me about being a woman, is how objectified we are. Like, and I think that it happens at first of all at a very young age. Like young girls are. I remember going to your house after school one time, and we were in our school uniform. Actually, I say one time, because it happened multiple times, but we were in our school uniform, and like some guy in a car was like whistling at you and like commented on your body. And I think we were probably around about 12, maybe 13.
Literally. Like,
and like it just like, I feel like it's just a constant thing that everything that we do is like tarnished with being over sexualized and being objectified. And I think like society just thinks that, a lot of people in society think that women exist for the benefit of
male gaze,
their enjoyment, for the male gaze, and all of that stuff that you said about like how you walk, how you talk, what you do, you know, your modesty, all of these things are, like what you wear, are like, who is it for? Because like I think traditionally it hasn't been women that have been kind of in setting those standards or imposing those standards. And I think like today, I'm really glad that I think more young women are interested in the feminist movement and about women's issues, although women's issues are everyone's issues. And I find that very encouraging. And I think this kind of maybe leads on to our other half of our topic, which is sisterhood, because I was going to talk about slut shaming. So maybe before we get into that, maybe I can ask you, what does sisterhood mean to you?
Sisterhood means to me a place of love, support, empowerment. Like we're talking like girl codes, we're talking best friends, we're talking safe spaces, we're talking that's what I would say sisterhood is to me.
For me, sisterhood is it's about support and empowerment. I think honestly, women as a collective is one of the most powerful forces in the world.
Honestly,
I know that sounds so cheesy, but I genuinely believe that when women come together and work together, we are absolutely unstoppable. Like absolutely
Unstoppable.
unstoppable. And so for me, sisterhood is again kind of about that strength, but this time
Hmm.
about that collective strength and support,
Yeah.
empowerment that you can get from other women. And
Yeah.
I know, like, we have a very strong, like, female friendship group, and for me, like,
Yeah.
that is sisterhood. Like, people who encourage me, people who want the
Support
best
you.
for me, who support me,
Yeah.
and
Who
also
love
people
you.
that, like, who love me,
Nurture you.
yeah, and people that will tell me the truth,
Hmm.
whether that be like something that I want to hear or not. But
Yeah.
people who are like have my best interest at heart enough that they're willing to tell me whatever it is.
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
also, like, expanding on your point about like supporting you, like emotionally and like actually showing up, like
yeah,
those are the things that like sisterhood is like, because you know your friends can support you, they can they can like offer advice, but sisterhood is like going that extra mile. It's like the love you have for your sister, for your family. It's turning friendship into family with all
yeah.
those like qualities.
Well, because that's the
um
thing. Like, I know that some people, like, for them, their sisterhood, like you said, does or do become their family. Like,
mhm.
for example, I know of like lots of women who have raised children on their, well, I say on their own, like without their partner, and the the female friendships or the group of women, their sisterhood that they have around them is like becomes their family, and
Yeah,
they help to like basically raise their children with them.
literally a village. It
Yeah,
takes a
and like
village.
I definitely had like an element of that where I've got like really had really strong female influences that were like part of my mum's, I would say, like sisterhood, who
Yeah.
have been like so impactful in my life, and like the way that I see the world because of their values, and yeah, just kind of how they
Yeah.
helped to bring me up.
Do you on that point? Do you have any like did you have any female role models growing up?
Oh,
Role, role
oh.
models, role models
um,
growing up.
Yeah, for sure. I would say like one of my probably earlier role models was my nan, my grandma, because you know what? Like I think about it today, yeah, and from such a young age, she would always like education was really important.
Hmm.
Like she would always ask me about school, always check in. But alongside that would always be you have to go to school, get your education so you don't have to rely on it on anyone.
That's
Like you
exactly
don't
what
have to.
my mum said.
Yeah. So you're like you she was like, Indy, how school you must go to school and get an education so you don't have to worry. You don't have to rely on any man. And I'd be like, yes,
Oh,
man.
love it.
And like I think that is like a really important thing that I definitely carried with me. And you know, she had 3 children and she made like such a wonderful family. Like the
Yeah.
experience of the family unit that she created, which I just admire so much. And I mean, besides all of the other wisdom that she gave me throughout her life, I think she
Yeah.
was probably like alongside my mum as well, but she was
Yeah, of
like one of
course.
my early role
Role
models.
models.
Yeah. What about
Nice. Yeah.
you? Don't say me,
I
that's embarrassing.
obviously you, India. I know you actually are a role model to me, but I'll come to that on my next point.
Okay.
I would I would say my grandma too as well. Purely for not purely, but like mostly for the fact that like my grandma, her mother died when she was 8 years old.
Yeah.
She had a alcoholic for a father,
Mm.
and she was so strong and she was so determined. She never went to school, like because of her parents' situation, but like she was an amazing people's person, amazing sales person. Like she made a career even though she never went to school. She raised like 6 kids, and one of them being my
Wow.
mum. She was a tyrant at times, but she was strong and she knew what she wanted, and she like she had faith, and those are the qualities that, and she was warm, and she was like, she was just the kind of person that I knew that I want to grow into, and I'm proud that I would grow into.
Yeah.
So my grandma, and then my mum as well. Like I'm like my mum, I respect so much. She's like the sickest mum ever. Like, if I could be a mum, I would be her. Like, she's so strong, she's so intelligent, she's got so much love in her heart, she's so fair, she's such a good teacher. Like, she obviously, your mother's like your first teacher, and like as a woman you share that kind of bond that you might not share with your father. And yeah, she was the provider, she was everything. Like,
you know
as
what,
a woman,
think, like, coming, like, talking about that, like, bonds that you have with your mum, I think also this is like something coming back to, like, womanhood. I think that, like, women in general have such an intuition. Like,
oh my god, literally,
talk about intuition for a second.
Oh
for a
my
second.
god,
Intuition. Like, you know, episode, what was it, episode 2, Dear Younger Me, I thought something that I would tell my younger self is listen to your intuition.
Your gut. Yes.
Listen to your gut, because your gut is such a strong tool.
Intrinsic, literally,
intrinsic thing. And I think I've learned that from my mum. Like, to trust your gut feeling and trust your intuition, because, like, it doesn't lie to you. And, like,
literally,
it's shown, like, through her, because, like, me and my mum have a very close relationship.
And your mum's spiritual as well.
Sorry?
Your mum's spiritual as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like if you're in tune, like, your intuition just really, it just
guide
you. It just can
literally
guide you. But I think that is, like, something that like, I think my grandma tried to instill in me, but I think trusting your gut, and I don't know how to describe it, but I think trusting your gut is, like,
feeling
really important to do. And I think that lots of women sometimes, against their better judgment, ignore it, and kind of that sort of imposter syndrome, maybe not so much that, but more kind of like
it makes you question what you're thinking and feeling
yourself. And, like, how many times, I wonder, like, people who are watching, or like you, Kayla, like, how many times have you had a feeling about something and you've, like, ignored it, and it turns out
literally that it's and you know, I get so angry with myself in those moments, because I'm like, Kayla, you knew this, like you knew this, and you literally went against it. Like, it gets me so angry. And, like, that I'm really trying to unlearn that, and, like, really listen to myself and, like, my body, because your body's not gonna do you wrong. Like, your body wants you to survive, it wants you to live, like that, you know? Do you know what I mean? So but yeah, you know what? Again,
sorry,
no, because I was gonna tie this into the next thing that we discussed about like domestic violence and, like, rape. Like, one of the things about your intuition, like, you know, in relationships, red flags, friendships, red flags, all that, not listening and doubting yourself and thinking, oh, I can change him, or I, like, not listening to like your instinct. As a woman, and part of womanhood is the realization that domestic violence, like, 1 in 4 of us will suffer from domestic violence, like, in our life, and, like, that's an awful reality. And like, women,
it's like, okay, so, like, in talking about womanhood or being a woman, it's very unfortunate that sometimes the subject will turn to domestic violence or domestic abuse, because, like you said, lots of women have had or will have some kind of experience with domestic violence or domestic abuse. I know that we both have seen, whether it be through friends or people that we know, we have seen that, like, kind of first/second hand. I think, like, that is when this kind of lesson of trusting your intuition actually becomes a very serious, very important thing to do. Not just kind of like, oh, I knew I should have done that, I knew I should have done it. Like, it actually becomes a really serious thing, that if your body or your mind, whatever you want to call it, is telling you something about someone, about the way that they treat you, because, like, that's
a feeling.
It's a feeling, and it's something that, like, people think, I think some people, I hope that the mood is changing, or the kind of education hopefully is improving, but people think that domestic abuse and domestic violence happens like first thing someone's just gonna like be physically abusive or physically violent, which a lot of the time, not always, but a lot of the time is not the case. A lot of the time domestic abuse starts with really small things. It starts with like the tearing down or the kind of beating up of your confidence and your self-esteem. Exactly. And so I think it was 2015 with the, I think it's the Serious Crimes Act 2015, that coercive control became a criminal offence. So kind of as just a little bit about that. So as I mentioned before, obviously domestic abuse can take the form of physical assaults and physical violence, but it can also be psychological as well. So that it might include things like controlling who you see or when you see them,
where you
like
go
especially
out.
like family and friends. Exactly. When you go out,
what you wear,
what you eat, control of your money, or when and how you work. It can be threats, it can be intimidation, it can be humiliation.
It can be putting you down, like, oh, you're not that pretty, or no one else would love you like I do.
Exactly.
No one will want you.
And oftentimes, obviously, that is domestic abuse within itself and is very serious. And just because there might not be any physical violence doesn't mean that it shouldn't be treated with the same severity as physical violence. But physical violence is very often preluded by that. And I think there have been women in the past that find themselves in a scenario of domestic abuse, and at the beginning of that relationship they did have these kind of red flags of, oh, I don't really like that he's told me that he doesn't like me wearing skirts like this or tops like that. And you ignore it, kind of what you said. It was like, oh, I can change him, or that's whatever. And it's like, no, like, listen, we've literally seen, like, you need to listen to that voice, because that voice is telling, or whatever it is, that voice is telling you something, and it's very serious.
Literally, you need to, I think that's like the most important thing. I think from like being a woman, and I think this chat is just listening to yourself. Like, as a woman, you have so much power, not just your pussy. Sorry, mum. You have so much power in your intuition and in your friends and in your family and in yourself. Like, literally, we were born to endure physically.
But speaking of pussy, seeing as you brought it up, no, I think this is actually, no, I'm glad that you said that, because I think something else that's actually really important to talk about within a discussion about womanhood, and then also, I guess, like in the wider sense for sisterhood, is, girls, we've got to talk about our vaginas.
Oh my God, literally all of it.
All sorts of reasons why we have to talk about vaginas. Okay, first of all, we will not be sexually liberated if we are not comfortable with our bodies. And I don't mean like about our bodies in terms of like, is my stomach flat? Do my hips come out in the right way or whatever? But like, I know a lot of women who have never seen their vagina. And I don't mean that as like a thing to shame anyone, but no. I think part of that comes from like women and sex, and how we view women and sex, how we view women's sexuality. And I think it's a really, like, I can't remember the statistic, but there's a statistic that says that X% of women have never had an orgasm before in their life.
Yeah, and a large amount.
Like too large a percentage. And like, first of all, that makes me really sad, because orgasms are lit. But second of all, like,
we're shamed. That's why.
Exactly. There's so much shame surrounding our body, sexuality.
Oh,
and our
there's
bodies.
So much shame when it's our bodies, but when someone else is viewing us, it's not.
Exactly. Girl, no, because read my mind. I was about to No, seriously, because like, when our bodies are for our enjoyment, there's so much shame that surrounds it. Like, think about it. There's been a huge increase in women who have elected to have like labia surgery. So they've decided to have surgery to make the lips of their vagina look more aesthetically pleasing.
Because
that is so fucking sad. I want to cry. Of course, any woman can do whatever she wants with her body, like, and it's absolutely nothing to do with me. The only reason I have an opinion is because I think is the why, because I question, it's like, why is there an increase in women that choose to have that surgery? Because, like, women are shamed for having very normal bodies. Like, we have vaginas. Some of them have lips that hang to the side, that are not symmetrical, that whatever. And
it's different vaginas. Just
it's different vaginas.
Look at pictures and see.
Yeah, but a lot of women feel shame because they are trying to, I think, in my personal opinion, some of them are trying to live up to the expectation of men. So men watch pornography, and pornophy has a very monolithic,
very problematic,
well, no, porn can be great, but
I watch
depending
porn.
on what kind of porn that you're getting is, you know, it can be very problematic. Lots of porn that men and women watch has a very monolithic portrayal or representation, of women's vaginas. They are all very similar. They're bleached, they're one color, they're very symmetrical, they're very neat, whatever the fuck that means. And men who obviously get a lot of their education, well, some young men get a lot of their education about women's bodies.
Yeah, well, the first woman's body they see is pornography, like, because they're
if it's not their mums, it is from pornography. And like, I don't know about you, but like, I grew up in a naked house. Like, you grew up in a naked house?
Yeah, my mum's always naked, and I did see my dad naked when I was really young, but not after a certain age.
No, but like, you know what? It sounds weird to say, but I thank my mum so much for bringing me up in a naked house, because I saw
even our friendship group.
But I think our friendship group wouldn't have been like that if we didn't grow up in a naked house.
Yeah, true.
Because I was able to see what a 35-year-old woman's body looked like, what a 45-year-old woman's body looked like, what a 55-year-old woman's body looked like. Wow. And I know how age affects your body. I have seen how childbirth and childbearing and breastfeeding affects your body. And so for me, that's like, that's not a shock, right? But I think we are bombarded constantly by such a narrow representation of what women's bodies and beauty. And no, you're right, because I was going to say women's bodies, but beauty and women's bodies goes hand in hand, because that is what's expected. Our bodies are supposed to be beautiful,
Barbie-like.
Which comes back to kind of what you were saying about when our bodies are for us versus when they are for somebody else's consumption, or for somebody else to objectify us. And I think, like, it's a really huge problem, because I think we see it every day because we see it on Instagram, and we see it every day because we hear it in our head, you know. Like, I'll be the first one to put my hand up to say that I've had thoughts of, like, I've been scrolling through Instagram and, like, I've been like, oh, why doesn't my ex look like this? Or why and
why can't I wear that? Yeah, literally, I felt the same. Like, I always look at girls and they have like these tiny pieces of like underwear on, and I'm like, bro, do you not have any lips? Like, it just looks like you've got like one piece of string, and where's everything else? Like, I don't understand.
Thing is, like, I think particularly kind of circling back to what we were saying before about like being happy with our body, or our body's not conforming to a certain stereotype or a certain image. I think it's a really dangerous thing, because I think more and more young women are turning to surgical enhancement, which, again, I don't care what you do with your body. Like, it's
Yeah.
up to you. The thing that I care about more is where it is because of like low self-esteem
Yeah.
and
Focus on the
conformity.
actual root, not the symptom. Like,
Right.
that's what
Right.
it is.
Because also you might focus on the root and you're like, oh, actually, I really love my body, but I still want to get my boobs, lips, hips,
Yeah.
whatever it is. And that's fine. But like when you're using those kind of things as like a treatment of what is actually like not a problem, but like an issue in here, or
Yeah.
issue of your self-confidence and self-esteem. Like
Yeah. You're tying that to that.
Yeah, and I think that is really upsetting, because I wish that women would have, or would be allowed, actually I should say, I wish women would be allowed to have
autonomy over their own body.
Yeah, autonomy over their body to let them be how they want to be. Like we manipulate our bodies so much to conform to a certain standard. Like I know particularly more so when I was younger, like, I would be like, oh my god, I've got to like epilate my legs. I can't be seen with like
fuck the epilator. You and that epilator. I hate the epilator.
High fresh pain hold.
Literally, India's fucking pain threshold is fucking skyrocketing, mate. It's all the way to Mars. Because I don't know if any of you have used one, but an epilator is crazy. But yeah, no. Back to your point. No, I completely agree. Like there are loads of things that we used to do when we were younger, and even still today. Like, I mean, there are things that could be seen as like conform to beauty standards, but that you actually generally just want to do as well. Yeah. But as a large part, that is most of people's motives when doing stuff.
Yeah. And like because the thing is like it's such a, like sometimes you don't even realize that our thoughts have been so poisoned,
conditioned
with the idea of our bodies for the consumption of very often men.
Yeah.
And I think that seeps into not only of like the body image, but circling back to what we were talking about, like vaginas and orgasms, like that seeps into like, how many women do you know
who masturbate,
who openly talk about masturbation? Like how many, when we were at school, right, how easy was it for boys to talk about wanking and it's a joke. Like we talk in society in general, talks about like men masturbating as a very, I'm not saying like you're going to talk about work, but like it's a very easy casual thing to slip in a conversation as a joke, right?
Yeah.
But you never, the thought or the mention of women and dare I say girls masturbating is like a sinful, horrible thing that like we should all cover our ears in. But like, what does that tell young girls? That they should be ashamed of masturbating, or that it shouldn't even be spoken about? Because then what does that say about their sexual
It's like
pleasure?
makes it dirty.
Yeah. Sorry? And so if you associate your sexual gratification with something dirty, what does that do to you?
Like it fucks with your head and makes you like not like value yourself, and like that might lead you to like letting men like take advantage of you or abuse you or use you. Yeah.
And also just like, I think the primacy of men's sexual gratification is something that really bugs me, because like how many like women do you know that when they have sex with their partner or with a sexual partner, that for both parties involved the primary goal is for the man's sexual gratification?
I think
if you're lucky, sometimes it will be also yours, but the primary goal is for a man's sexual gratification, and that is so wrong on so many levels.
So wrong. I'm so guilty.
Sorry.
I can say I'm definitely guilty. I was definitely guilty of that when I was younger. Like sex definitely was definitely not. It was literally to pleasure the person that I was with. I didn't see. Yeah, not to be pleased. Like for me, pleasing But that's the thing though, even though it wasn't for me to be pleased, I pleased myself with masturbation, like from a really young age.
Yeah.
I was really, I found it, I thought it was healthy. I thought it was me
It is.
discovering my own body and like finding out what I like.
The fact that you've said that, I think, will be quite a big thing for a lot of people, because I don't know how many men or women have heard women speak up, like say that so openly and like carefree as you just did, which like,
Yeah, and it should
round of
be
applause
like,
to you, by the way, but like, it
yeah.
shouldn't be something that I'm like, wow, Kayla, that's such a great thing, but it is.
Yeah, like it's normal. Everyone should do it, and a lot more people do it than people think or know of. It's just no one wants to talk about it. But the more open we are about it, the less people will give a shit about what we're saying and just see it as normal.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
Sorry.
No, no, no. I know, like, there's obviously like points where you can say no, but like society actually like looks down at people or like thinks that you're X kind of person. But I think it's also our responsibility to make it normal too, and to like, yeah, educate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the onus is on us to change the fact that society thinks that it's a taboo, but I think that our sisterhood, that if we can talk about it, like if women and sisters and friends can talk about it in a way that we remove the shame and we say within our sisterhood, this is a safe space, we can talk about it and there is no shame to be had. Why don't we get more comfortable talking about it? Then I hope that that will in turn lead to it becoming more well, less taboo in general.
Yeah.
But I think you said something about kind of like women pleasing, particularly in the realm of sex. But I think that is like very much symptomatic of, I think in general, women and girls are kind of raised and programmed to please. Like,
absolutely.
And we're told not to do things because it displeases other people.
Yeah.
And I think like, and that's it, it all feeds into it, because like, yes, sexually, but that is also just a part of something else that is different, of like, don't be too loud, don't be too
opinionated,
don't be too opinionated, don't be too bossy,
don't earn too much money,
don't dare earn too much. You know, all of these, don't do too much this or be too much that. And it's like, it's really stifling, because like, first of all, fuck you, and second of all like, I think it really does stifle women in general, because it gears our energies to think that we have to do something for other people and we don't do things for ourselves. And I think that's something that I like definitely suffer from myself. Like, I have a very a very like sort of perfectionist personality, and I like to get things right. And I'm also, I think,
and you also like to please.
I think as a person in general, I think I am a people pleaser. But I think on top of that, the way that girls and girls are raised within the wider societal context is to please. And I think that the upshot of that for me has been that, and I think I've mentioned this before, has been that it means that in the past, at least, I have put my own needs or my own wants and desires on the back burner. So much so that like sometimes I like struggle to know what it is that I want, because when I say, India, what do you want? I think,
I haven't even thought about that.
I don't know, I haven't thought about that. I've been too busy thinking about
other people.
And like, I'm fucking tired of that shit, man.
Tired of it, man.
I ain't doing it no more.
You ain't doing it, girl. You don't need to do it.
Period. Period. Oh my god, okay. But seriously, I would advise anyone watching this, if you're a woman, grab a hand mirror and just like look at your vagina, because
please do.
They're also, you
have
know,
a touch as well.
Like, have a touch. When somebody says like you're a pussy, I always find it so ironic, because like vaginas are possibly one of the strongest human body parts that there are, because we literally birth humans. Well, not me personally. Or you
not yet.
Not yet. But we literally birth humans out of them. So pretty strong. Pretty strong. But like also, I think like it comes into like our health as well, you know, like checking your breasts, you know, we should be checking our breasts regularly. And the reason that you're meant to check your breast regularly is because you're supposed to be able to then be able to tell what is normal, because normal is your normal, right? If like something is normal for me, it might not be normal for you, but the change I can recognize because it's personal to me. And I think the same applies to our like vaginal health.
Yeah, be familiar with your body.
Yeah, because like the closer I get to, like, I'm not trying to say I'm having kids now, but the closer I get to the age of like thinking about having children, it's kind of weird that like we're supposed to not inquire about our vaginas or have like that self-exploration. Then suddenly you're like, okay, I'm kind of ready to have kids now. And it's like,
yeah.
Right, what's going on?
Now you're gonna show me what you're made of.
What's going on? Never seen you before. But like, just, I mean, we've got to kind of wrap up in a few minutes, but
one question.
Go.
What, like, one closing thing I want to ask you. What does it mean to be a woman in 2020?
I think in 2020, being a woman means taking what you want, not asking, taking what you want, and demanding change that benefits us.
And to add on to that,
and what about you?
Still, for being a woman in 2020 is owning our own narrative.
Yes.
It's taking the space that we deserve and that we have worked for and that we should be there because we bring on that different perspective. It's fighting paternalistic views and just paternalistic anything. And it means occupying the space, occupying the relationship, occupying the friendship, occupying the world just by being you.
I think one thing I would add to that, and I wish we had more time. Maybe we might have to carry this, because like we had so much to talk about today, and we got through like 10% of it. But another thing I think, like, maybe we can end on this, but pick it up maybe next week, is like, we are so strong together, and the power that we have to support each other and to uplift each other is second to none. If we can all get on board with that, and instead of seeing just pulled out my earring, instead of seeing each other as competition, seeing each other as collaborators and as
inspirational,
and as inspiration, and lean on each other and help each other send the ladder back down, I honestly think that the next 100 years is going to see the advancement of women like we have never seen.
Absolutely. Our trajectory that's already growing is just going to skyrocket, and we gonna be ruling the world. We gonna be leaders. We gonna be running these streets.
I'm joking.
Who run the world? Girls.
Girls.
Who run the world?
Girls. Okay, and I think that concludes our episode of Heart to Heart. There's one thing that we did want to say though, or just on a slight serious note, is that we do want to just highlight that the National Domestic Abuse Helpline, you can reach them for free. I think it's for free on 0808 2000 24/7. So 0808 2000 24/7. And if you have anyone who you know of that is suffering through a abusive relationship, then speak up, help them in the safest way you can possible, and support your sister.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better. Please.
Yeah, so keep an open mind and an open heart. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week. Thank you.
Love you.
Love you all. Bye.